Welcome to another postpartum cooking video. So today I'm making a soup out of this First 40 Days Essential Art of Nourishing the New Mother book. And it is a quinoa, lentils, and greens soup. Alright, so here are most of the ingredients for this soup. We have a yellow onion. This is homemade bone broth that I made a couple days ago. I need 2 quarts of it, and each of these holds about 1 quart. Cumin, carrots, green lentils, quinoa, and then some kale, and then some like salt and pepper and things like that. But this is pretty much everything we need. So this soup does not have any meat in it. I'm trying to go for a mix of soups and meals with meat, and some that are just more focused on the vegetables. So this one is more vegetable focused, but I also have made and will make more meals with meat. Just kind of, I don't know how I'll feel postpartum, so maybe I'll really be feeling kind of these vegetarian warm soups, and maybe I like the meaty ones more. But yeah, so this is what I have assembled for this recipe. First step is to chop up this onion. And now that I've finished prepping the onion, I'm also going to go ahead and prep the carrots, because after the onion sautés, the broth, the cumin, and the carrots, and I think the lentils are all going to go in together. Alright, now that we have the onions chopped and the carrots prepped, it's time to start actually cooking. Alright, so I'm going to turn on this burner to medium heat, and then once it gets all warmed up, I'm going to throw in the onions with some oil and saute them so that they're nice and caramelized. Alright, the onions are looking like they are browning, so next step is to add in the broth, the carrots, the cumin, and the lentils. So now that everything is in there, I'm going to bring it to a boil and then let it simmer for a little while before adding the next ingredients. Alright, so now that this soup has been simmering for a little bit, I don't know if you can tell, but it's definitely a lot thicker. The lentils have been cooking and the carrots have been softening and all of that. The next step is to add some quinoa and some cut up kale, so I just need to wash this and chop it. And then once the quinoa and kale are added, then the soup simmers for a little bit longer. The quinoa and the kale have been prepped and ready to go, so it's time to add them into the soup. Just a little kale, not much. That's a joke. I hope when I'm newly postpartum that a soup filled with kale is what I'm in the mood for. I mean, we all crave Chick-fil-A sometimes and milkshakes and stuff, but I'm just trying my best to have healthy options at hand, especially since I know postpartum the body's recovering and there's a lot of nutrients to be replenished in the body, but currently pregnant me is looking at this thinking, doesn't sound great. Hopefully newly postpartum me will think it sounds delicious. All right, I'm trying to mix this in. Looks like this is a very thick, so I might need to add more liquid to be determined here. What's going on with this stew and how to get this kale to wilt a little and the quinoa to cook. All right, so the timer has gone off for the soup, so it's time to see how the quinoa is looking. The kale looks like it's wilted. I'm just not sure if the quinoa is cooked. This is a fun little, I don't want to say issue, but like a fun little wrinkle in the recipe because this is my first time making it. And it's possible that I added too much kale, although I did it by weight, so I weighed out exactly how much kale the recipe called for, but I will give it a try and see if the quinoa is cooked, because if it's not, even if, I mean, I don't really care if the timer went off. If obviously it's not cooked, I want to let it keep cooking for a little bit, so I will give that a taste. Also, this roasting pan, I know it wasn't in earlier clips, but while I've been waiting for this, I actually am making another batch of bone broth, so that I can use it in future recipes. All right, a quick update. I did a little taste test and it tastes pretty good. So I'm just going to let this soup cool a little bit, and then I'm going to store it in these containers in the freezer.